So we're just shooting kids now. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 4 of Sanda. So, yeah, quite a crazy point we left off on. Considering everything we're learning about this world and about the situation from the basically the socioeconomic situation with this world, it's crazy that this dude would shoot a kid. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's understandable. Like, he knows the kid is Santa, right? And he is part of this specific task force, this specific elite kill squad, basically, that are out to get Santa. And he has, I guess, personal beef with the big red man. Because he had an interaction with Santa before, but I guess that was like supposed to be Santa's father, from what we know. I mean, we don't technically know that hasn't been revealed, but that's the implication based on the time frame. It was like 20 years ago or something, so it'd be before Santa was even born or something, right? But it's like, with how this world, how this again, socioeconomic, like, state that Japan is in, how it treats children as like almost gods who can do no wrong and who have to be protected at all costs. The idea of like shooting a child, even if it's a non-fatal shot, is kind of fucked, is it not? I mean, it's fucked in like a realistic state too, like in like the real state that we live in. It's obviously fucked. But within their world, it seems like that's not just illegal, but almost a terrorist action. And I guess that this kill squad is supposed to be like, I don't know, some Black Ops level group. But do they just get a pass? Do they have high enough clearance, I guess, to get a pass to be able to just shoot a child? If that child happens to be, Santa? And this also implies that they know about the entire Santa being a child thing, or the possibility of such, at least. But the principal didn't know that Santa was Santa. And I don't think he even made an implication that he knew that Santa was a kid. So it's like, it's very kind of confusing. On top of that, you have the fact that Ono, I think her name is just there. She just suddenly appears out of nowhere and then runs off and disappears. So we know she's alive. Don't know what her deal is. We have I shared some theories last time about maybe she has somehow the ability to turn invisible, and maybe that was her voice they heard when asking the class about her. Because we never saw who the voice came from, but we saw how Fuyamura was affected by this, how she started laughing and everything, and she just was obviously really happy, but also really confused. But knowing that Ono was alive is definitely a big deal for her. So I'm very, very excited to see where that goes. I was surprised we got any kind of follow-up to that already, but I don't think we're going to continue to follow it up yet. I don't know. It still seems too early. I might be wrong. I was already wrong, I guess, but it just seems way too early. I'm I'm very very interested to see what happens, especially after where this left off. Um and just how we're going to get out of this at this point. This holly tatted motherfucker is like just an obvious problem. Because even if Sanda does like transform, which he probably will because he's been shot, like the blood will transform him, right? Even if he does, it's like this guy is like very specifically trained to take on Santa. And on top of that, there are others in the area who are also part of this squad who he's probably going to call. It's just like, Jesus, this is like not a great position to be in. Um, I don't know yet how I feel about the pacing of this all. With with how this is going with like this guy being brought in so early, Ono being brought back so early and stuff. It feels like it's going fast, but that might be what the series is going for. It feels like it could be very possible that this series is going for exactly that. Um, so I'm gonna wait because this series might actually lean into that in a way that makes it work really well. I'm gonna wait to actually like give like any kind of realistic thought on the pacing until I know more of what it's going for. Because excuse me. Because some shows, movies, etc. pace things a little quicker on purpose to like express things. And that could be what's going on here. So, anyway, I think we should just get on with this and see what this episode is all about. So, let's get it started. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, due to the declining birth rate and everything, Japan, as we already knew, had like put in all of these policies in order to basically treat kids as, well, as gods. That they can do no wrong, they don't get in trouble for crimes and stuff, which is insane for a number of reasons. And we also find out now that they're controlled to a degree to where their future marriages are preordained. Their education is preordained, which would imply also that their future jobs are preordained. Their lives as a total are basically controlled by the state in order to facilitate a future where the birth rate gets back on track and the country isn't in as problematic of a state. And they even go as far as like banning kissing before marriage, which is stupid. It almost feels, ironically, like a Christo-fascist nation Like what, the religious right here in America are trying to implement. It's like fascism based on Christianity, trying to like manipulate and control the lives of everyone in society to their standards and ideals. And in this case, obviously, it's being done for a specific purpose and reason, but that's still what it kind of comes down to. And there's so many levels on which this is fucked beyond belief. It's just, it's wild. It's just so ridiculous. And I think that's what this series is going for. It's obviously sharing a message about a lot of various things about growing up as a kid and, kind of the importance of being a kid and not having to worry about stuff like that, not having to worry about your life ahead of you or the political and socio-economic states of your country. Not having to worry about like ordained marriages and shit. It's just about like being a kid and experiencing life and allowing yourself to, just live under an oppressive society that wants you to live in their way, that wants you to abide by their ideals. And it's telling this kind of stuff through the most insane visual and thematic storytelling possible. It goes way out of its way to be as batshit insane as possible while spreading this message. And I kind of love the shit out of that. Because this is something that I've always genuinely really enjoyed. When a show or a movie or a game or just a piece of media in general tries to like make a like really profound, deep, like actually deep, not like, oh, this is so deep, actually deep message. And they present that in the most unhinged way possible. Or just, not necessarily unhinged, but a very unique, very unusual manner than you would normally see that kind of thing portrayed as. Because usually, like, topics like this are portrayed in a very dramatic fashion, are very serious, are looked at with, the lens of, this is important, we need to take it seriously. And then there is the creator of this who is just like, let's just go fucking wild. Let's just be kids. Because when you think about it, that's kind of what this is. It's not just a message about being kids, but it's handling it in a very, childlike way. It's presenting it very ridiculous and goofy and silly and funny. And it's doing so because it's trying to remind you that you don't have to grow up too fast. That you can just have fun in the insane, in the ridiculous, in the childlike wonder of just being a little goofball. And I mean, I can't say like for sure that that's what the author was going for. But that is the vibe I'm getting, like heavily, after this episode. Because when you think about it, the big conflict of this series is these children facing off against the adult world, facing off against these adult ideologies. And not just adult ideologies, but specifically restrictive, like damaging adult ideologies that are put in place for what they claim is a noble goal, a noble reason, but in reality is just a method of control and just bullshit. Fascist bullshit. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. But it's like so horrific to a comical level that it kind of like it makes you laugh at the absurdity. Unfortunately, I can't say it's unrealistically absurd, but it's absurd to a point where it's like you just can't help but laugh. And it makes you question a lot of things, and it makes you uncomfortable even at times. But that's, again, the point. Because that's life. A lot of people don't quite get that. That discomfort is a part of life. And that everyone is going to go through things, experience things, see things, hear things that are going to make them uncomfortable. They're going to get involved in stuff that they shouldn't at their age. Because that's part of growing up. And you learn from those moments. And sometimes it's just random weird bullshit. Sometimes it's because of other people, like, fucking things up for you. It could be a lot of different things. And sometimes it's just, someone doing something stupid and insane because they didn't think something through. Everyone in that auditorium saw Sanda's big-ass dick. And I emphasize the big-ass part because he emphasized it multiple times. It was made very clear that it is full-sized. And he's very self-conscious about that. But it also shows through this that he also had like very little shame in that moment when he crashed through. He didn't even try to hide himself. And that kind of goes in what was being said last time with him like not really thinking about the other kids in that way. Because like as Santa, now he's like starting to only think about them as like children who need to be protected. And though, I mean, I would think that would count for that, but you know what I mean. Need to be like given hope and wonder again. And hell, like the one dude even said that's the only reason they're hunting down Santa. He's not like an actual threat or anything. Like they made a point of saying he's not a threat. They're just hunting him down because he'll give kids hope and make them like want their own autonomy. Which, Jesus. That's, again, fucked on so many levels. But all these kids now think that he's just God for some reason. And very little of them seem to, like, even talk about or think about the dick thing hanging out. I don't know why they thought he was God, but, But again, it's kind of the ridiculousness of it. It's meant to be so over-the-top stupid that it's fun. It's entertaining. Like, realistically, yeah, something like that would be very, very bad. For a lot of reasons. That would basically kind of be contextualized as sexual assault. It's really bad. But I'm not saying that it wouldn't be contextualized within this kind of world like that. But the ridiculousness and over-the-topness of this series, basically, I don't know if I would fully call this a satire, but there's definitely satirical elements to it. it's not quite on the level of something like Panty and Stocking, which is a full satire, or even Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. But it definitely has satirical elements to it. And I don't think you're supposed to take it that seriously in terms of like the crazy bullshit like that. Like the stuff you're supposed to take seriously, it makes sure you know you're supposed to take it seriously. Like Fuyamura just needing multiple bear hugs to deal with her emotions because society has restricted her and all the other kids so much that she's not been able to express herself properly and not been able to find comfort and hope in this world, and needs the ability to actually have a healthy expression of herself and her desires and feelings. Jesus, this show gets sad when you think about it this way. That actually really bothered me. God damn it. Wow. I'm not kidding, by the way. That really actually got to me. Like, I'm actually, like, getting teary-eyed. Also, on a lighter note, very gay. Like I said in the reaction, I wasn't like 100% like actually meaning it when I like talked about that. I believe in episode 1. It would have had to have been episode 1, right? But it's like the idea of Fuyamura and Ono like being gay or being like into each other was more it wasn't a joke. It was more of like, I guess, a wish because of me enjoying queer representation in media. But then you have this episode, and it's like, oh no, it's intentional. It's very intentional, and it's not subtext. It's just the text. They have feelings for each other. It's very blatant. It's not hidden. I, I mean, they could be gay, bi, pan, any of this kind of thing. There's a lot of different options. But the fact of the matter is that Fuyamura and Ono 100% had a thing for each other. And more than likely still do, of course. They almost kissed. And mind you, it seems like part of that does come from, having been restricted and wanting to know what a kiss is like. But there's the way the frame was like, well, framed prior to them leaning in for the kiss, like the way they were looking at each other and everything. It's like, that is gay as fuck. Like, speaking as a professional gay, that was the framing of that was very clearly meant to invoke that they were having those feelings for each other and they were questioning that. And I don't think that's something that we've really like discussed like with all of the other like themes and topics. Like they've talked about obviously ordained marriages and stuff, but I think that, yeah, queerness would probably be looked down on in a society like this because they're trying to get the birth rates back up, trying to get like kids to be born more and more, and so it's like I feel like at least cisgender queerness would be looked down on. Because, like, two cis women, for example, can't have a kid with each other. At least not in a natural way. And the birth rate is very specifically what they want to get up, so adoption isn't what they're looking for here. And the same with two cisgender guys. Now, I don't know, like, what the thought would be when it comes to trans people and non-binary people, but it would probably just make more sense, especially with all the other kind of ideologies we're hearing from this. It would just kind of make more sense if they were just purely queer phobic. And honestly, I think it would like it feels it feels like it makes sense for the series. We'll just put it that way. And the thing is, it's like the queerness of this series is also very apparent and obvious because remember, this is the same creator as Beastars, which is super fucking gay. And again, not subtextually, very directly gay. Like it doesn't like flaunt it or anything, but it's very obvious with it. Um there's a one or two videos or something by a YouTuber named Keith Ballard. He normally does a lot of Let's Play content, but he also does some video essays, and he did a video essay on Beastars and the queerness of it, and even used the video as a way to come out as gay and as a furry as well, which, I mean, is relevant to Beastars, obviously. But it's like, it was like this really, really good video essay for a series that I don't like. Personally. It's like there's clearly a lot of great writing stuff for the series, but I couldn't get into it. I didn't enjoy it at all. But yeah, that's not really the point though. It's like the video essay goes into how like very overtly gay it is. And it's like it's a really fascinating watch. I would definitely suggest checking it out. But it's like it just Ono and Fuyamura are very clearly fucking gay for each other. It's very obvious. And again, with the society, the ideals, everything that this world kind of like stands for, it kind of like it's a funny thought almost to kind of think of the concept of like homosexuality caused this in the first place. I mentioned this in the reaction, but like the idea of like the possibility that there were just too many gay people and that's why the birth rate was declining. It's a really funny thought. Also not realistic, by the way. It's been disproven that like the amount of gay people in the world wouldn't really affect the birth rates to any notable degree. That's been proven because that's one of the biggest things that a lot of queerphobic right-wing asshats like to say. They like to very specifically use that as fuel to hate on gay people. And it's just like, that's just, for multiple reasons, not how it works. There's so many things to take into account for that. There are some gay people who use surrogates. There are gay male couples who have a surrogate mother who will have the baby for them. Which you can think about that whatever you want, but it's consensual and everything. It is a thing. And from most of what I've heard, the person who does give birth to the child does usually stay in their lives still. So for anyone wondering about that, from everything I've read and heard, they usually do stay in their lives as like a godparent or something like that. It's usually a very like healthy relationship. But like gay cis women who are in a relationship might have someone like donate sperm or whatnot to get them inseminated and stuff. There are ways. There are ways for birth rates to continue to go steady with queer couples. It absolutely does happen. So yeah, that entire idea would be debunked, but I could absolutely see them utilizing it for this series. I still don't know why he took off his underwear during the fight. Was it for more range of motion? Was that the idea? I don't think he said. He just randomly took them off. Was he trying to, like, be more comfortable with himself? Because there was obviously the thing about him, like, having a lot of self-confidence issues with, like, his transformed state and most notably his dick. Because, like, remember, this is, and as they very much pointed out many times in this episode, he's a fucking 14-year-old kid. But when he transforms into Santa, he takes on a fully adult body with everything fully adult. And it freaks him the fuck out, as it honestly should. He has this, like, almost existential crisis in regards to it. And so that's fully believable that he would have that kind of self-image issue with it. So I'm just kind of wondering if, like, that was maybe the idea, if he, like, disrobed to try and help get through that. Because, I mean, think about it. This kid, this is a 14-year-old kid. Again, he's going through puberty. This is a kid going through puberty, suddenly turning into a giant muscle-bound adult man with a fully adult body. That would freak me the fuck out for a number of reasons that are completely separate from just the normal reasons, but still. You get it, though. It's like, suddenly, like, when you're a kid who's having already all of this weird growing up bullshit, having to deal with something this insane and crazy as well, it's like the amount of body dysmorphia issues that this would give you is insane. And I have enough of that shit already. I would be freaking the fuck out too. His reaction is perfectly reasonable. I am wondering, though, like, is that why he did it? I don't know. Again, I just feel like maybe it could have been a little more clear. But I like this hunter dude, I'll just call him, because I can't remember his name. But I like him just straight up admitting, it's like, oh no, you're not a danger to anyone, you're fine. We just don't like you because you represent the ruin of our society's ideals. You'll make kids want to have their own lives. It's like, Jesus fuck, that's really fucked. Again, this series takes this idea in such a batshit way that it feels so over the top and ridiculous to a degree that it just feels at least partially excuse me, at least partially satirical. But then you also have, like, these really impressive, like, serious moments that do get, like, emotional and everything. Like at the end with Fuyamura needing to hug Sanda over and over because she needs to actually be able to let her emotions out. Like, you wonder why Fuyamura is basically a terrorist. Look at what this country has done to her and everyone else. What it puts these kids through, just in terms of, like, their emotional and mental states on a daily basis. Not to mention losing the girl she very clearly had a crush on. It's just like, all of this probably fucked her up. Like, probably mentally and emotionally, like, actually fucked her up. Like, I'm not saying that, like, as, oh, it just hurt her emotionally. No, I mean, like, actually, like, gave her a bit of a, like, mental issue. Like, legitimately. And it's, honestly, I couldn't blame any of these kids for getting fucked up over this. And we've seen that it's not even just her. The other dude, I can't remember his name right now either. He was in this episode. I don't think his name was ever said once in this episode. But, like, he was fucked up too. And yet all he wanted was to help his parents' bakery. But he got fucked up as well in terms of, like, his emotional and mental state. And I think that's the point. Again, I think it's the author who's using, like, the idea of, like, characters in an anime, a manga, an anime, like, being kind of, like, batshit crazy and whatnot, and to, like, an almost ridiculous, not even almost, a ridiculous degree. It seems like the author is using that to express how fucked up the world is, both in real life and in the case of this series, and how those kind of influences can really do a lot of damage to a child's mental state. Fuyamura is a victim here. Yes, she's crazy, but it's because of how this society has treated her. And if my entire theory about the homophobia and stuff is true as well, then it's even more so, because, like, she would probably know that that's illegal if that is the case, and having those feelings start to emerge, not to mention, like, almost kissing in the first place, which is also illegal, kissing before marriage. And then the fact that they were looking at these, like, anatomical drawings in textbooks, which apparently they're not supposed to do either. It's just, like, all of this kind of stacking up together. It's like, yeah, no wonder she turned into a fucking bomber and shit. It's like, what do you expect when this is a very, like, influenced child being treated like this? Again, it's like, they even made this kind of joke in the first episode. It's kind of hard to remember sometimes because she is very legitimately tall and mature looking for her age. She's just 14 years old. Again, it makes a point of saying that in this episode as well. She is a child. She is a young teenager. Like, do you know how easily susceptible to information and, like, manipulation young teenagers are? Extremely susceptible. Which is what the government in this wants, because they want to, like, force their ideology on them. But we also see how that could easily mentally and emotionally fuck someone up. It's just like, Jesus. It's insane. But the fact that I'm talking about it this long, my recording timer says I've been talking for over 30 minutes. Jesus. It just shows how much of, like, an impact this is leaving on me. Not just for the sake of, like, enjoyment, generally speaking, but in terms of its messages and themes as well. It's really working for me on, like, a fundamental level. Like, I would compare this to Dan in terms of its crazy bullshit and how it uses that crazy bullshit to express a message that's deeply important. Obviously, with Dan talking about stuff like, you know, sexual assault and children being, harmed by adults around them. Stuff like that. As well as abuse, child murder, and everything. All kinds of big, messages geared around how children are treated. This does the same kind of thing, just with different specifics and different levels of batshit. And I think aren't these both the same studio? Isn't this Science Saru as well? I think. Hold on. Let me make sure here. Because it's like that would track, because it seems like it just seems like that might be their kind of thing to do stuff like that, because there's messages like that even in other stuff they've done, to different degrees, of course. Like Scott Pilgrim Takes Off touches on stuff like that, and Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin touches on themes related to childhood, but in different ways. It's not really about how children are treated, but more about how children are finding ways to better the world and better each other through that. Through the medium of art and expression, with making their own anime. I would definitely suggest seeing that, by the way, if you haven't. Just watch anything by Science Saru. Let's be honest. They're dominating right now. And yes, this is Science Saru. I just made sure of that. And it's licensed by Amazon Prime, interestingly enough. But yeah. This series is just winning me over more and more every episode. Unfortunately, this is the last episode for the year. I haven't mentioned that yet, but yeah. If you didn't know, for whatever reason, this is our last week of the year for reactions. Outside of the holiday special, because there's going to be one of those on Christmas Eve. So yeah, if you didn't somehow know, this is something I do every year, and I have mentioned it in other videos already. But basically the gist is the last week or week and a half, 2 weeks of the year, I take off. Basically the week of Christmas and the week after, usually. And it's just a way for me to refresh myself leading into the next year, and allows me to just completely prepare for what's to come. Also, just to take a break after the stressful holiday season. So, there won't be any more Sanda for a couple weeks. Let me check my calendar to be safe. The next episode of Sanda would be on Tuesday the 6th of January. So, yeah, you're going to have to wait, unfortunately, but I hope that you're excited for more to come. I'm very excited to get to more, and I'm very excited to kick off the new year with more. So, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode, and thank you, as always, so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.